Thank you all for coming.
Get this in here.
All right. Take some of your questions. You.
Hey, Coach, what are your feelings after your loss this week?
Well, not gonna lie, it was a tough loss. You know, most of my boys tried hard. A few of them, put in a little extra effort to try carrying some of our members who, let's just say, didn't quite give it their all or, put up the desired numbers that I needed each week. But, my MVPs, my special teams, my defense, they really followed through for exactly what we needed this week. So, they gave it their all. And most of them, that's all I can ask for.
What are your thoughts about Jonathan Taylor's performance this past week and moving forward?
JT, let's just be blunt. He didn't perform. He's been kind of underperforming, and his injury. It's a little alarming. Could be a high ankle sprain. We don't quite know. He's getting checked out right now. But honestly, injuries aside, I think he's going to be pulled out of the next few games anyway. He's really got to earn that spot. He's been kind of coasting this season, and honestly, there's a couple other guys that have stepped up, and they're going to get the opportunities over him. He's got to actually earn that RB spot on the starting lineup. So, we'll treat his injury as it is, but also, he's getting outperformed, so he's going to be taking a little bit of a back seat.
How do you feel knowing that if there was a median, your team could have gotten a W this week?
Listen, I don't want to hear about a median win, all right? My team is out here putting up toe-to-toe with whoever we're up against, all right? They don't want any of these participation W's for just doing good that week. No. They want to beat the other team. That's all they care about, all right? A win's a win, a loss is a loss. You get lucky, you get unlucky. You play hard, you don't play hard. Just because our matchup was pretty high scoring, both teams coming out like powerhouses, doesn't mean that we should be compared against, the Jets of the league, like the lifelong Bengals, all right? Only putting up, 80-some points. That doesn't matter. Our game is our game. Our matchup is our matchup. End of story. You.
So your feelings haven't changed about the median?
With all due respect, I'm not answering any more questions about the median, okay? The median is a bad idea. We shouldn't have it. We like the results as is, as hard as they may be from time to time. You take the W's, you take the L's, you're up against one other team, all right?
Now, if the league had a
All
median...
right. I think we've had enough at this thing.
I'll see you guys next week.
Taking battle stations, I ain't on vacation. I'm just glowing up, living out aspirations. I beat the expectations and change the generations. And I'm still jumping fences, and you're just imitations. They're all in second places, but I don't live for praises. I play this life like a game, levels and stages. Let me paraphrases, then do a couple pages. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Let me introduce you to a brand new thing. No one gonna prove to. You're looking at the king. This life may choose you, so raise your wings. Watch this, watch this, watch this. This is a brand new thing. They've been calling me mad for 20 years, but it takes a little crazy when you...
Next year, I say we do away with weeks, and everything is just based off of episode number.
That's fair.
We never mention the weeks ever fucking again.
Yeah, I think it's episode 5. 1, 2, 3. Haha. Grape soda, this one's for Eric. Since he's a racist. What's up, gang? I'm your host, Mattyice. This is The episode 4 podcast, we had some confusion. I mean, episode 5. I can't get it right. I can never get it right. It's so fucking confusing because there's weeks and episodes. What a week. I mean, this is the week we were dreaming of, am I right? We've had more trades from Friday or Saturday night. I think Friday night? Yeah, we've had more trades since then than we've had in the first 4 weeks. Amelia's loving the trades. She's smiling. She's having a good time. Oh, God. The trade segment this week is going to be epic. We've been saving it, and we're so happy we're finally able to use it. A few news and notes to start the week. Ben's team absolutely decimated. Pour one out for Ben. I would, but this is grape soda, and that would stain the green screen. Also, pour one out for Eric Hansen, who lost Javante. That's tough, brother. This is a tough week for your boy, Mattyice. Only scored 110 points. But I'd also like to give myself a shout out for calling Casey's team trash and not being able to score more than like 100 points. And I was right. I said, I don't see you scoring more than 110. And I was right. Your team sucks. You're 3-1. But so is Andy, and his team sucks. And sometimes you just have blow up weeks. And speaking of blowing up, I'm ready to blow up my team. Send some trade offers my way. I figure it's all uphill from here. I can't really think of anything that I would need in this world more than my mortal enemy. You know the drill, buddy. Just wait. Next week when Dalton Schultz pops off, you'll be crawling. You'll be crawling over to me asking for a trade. So we got 3 teams that are 3-1. We got 3 teams that are 1-3, and we got 6 teams that are 2-2. It's anyone's, this year, as of right now, it's anyone's game to win. The Yoffs are still 10 plus weeks away. Any team can start popping off. We're going to have injuries. They're going to keep happening. Depth problems, 3 wide receiver league, boys. Don't forget it. When you start having depth problems and injury problems, it's going to be exacerbated by the fact that you have to start 2 shitty players now instead of 1. So let's just all take a deep breath here, all right? Look, there's some teams on the top that have no points scored. There's some teams in the bottom, I'm not naming anyone, that have pretty good points scored. That probably shouldn't be 1-3. So I'm not panicking at all. I'm not panicking. And that is it for the news and notes this week. Moral of the story, don't panic, all you 1-3 and 2-2 players. There's plenty of time left for Casey's team and Andy's team to put up 80 points a week for the next few weeks and get some free wins. Let's hit it over to James with the stats, and we will be back after the stats.
All right, let's talk about the league median alternate stats. There are 3 people that are really taking advantage of the lack of median. Those people are Casey, Eric KKK, and Andy, who is up 5 whole spots without the median. Once again, I have the most messages with 1,379 messages in week 4. But to be fair, that's because I misspell, recorrect, and send very short messages all the time. Ben is still in the top 6, but is still on that downward trend with 23 less messages per day. All right, let's move on to the mute managers. Andy, you went up 400% with 3 messages. Nice work. And I, in week 4, have more messages than everyone total on this bottom list all season long. Here are a list of the worst performers. Oof, that's all I can say. Matt, Ben, Andy, Eric, Sean, Donnie, plenty of time to turn it around. Your average scores can go up. Those of you under 100, specifically if you have 99 or fewer points, you guys need to make some moves to hopefully break the triple digits for an average score, because that is just embarrassing with 3 wide receivers. Here are the averages for the top 6 best performers on here. No surprise, I am not quite sure why Max's bar is a little bit longer than Scott's, even though his number's a little bit less. I'm not sure why my bar is almost tied with Scott's, even though I have less. You know, this chart isn't looking right, but the math is still there. Just do a little bit deeper of diving. Our diversity, unfortunately, has not changed this week, but we will continue to track. Blowout dude Scott with another bar next to his name. That is a good sign. Congrats, Scott, to being our first 2-time on this list. Ryan, on the other hand, I guess congrats to you for being the first. Granted, it's not on a list you want to be on, for being blown out 2 times this season. And finally, the people with the fewest money. We have our first completely broke, needs to take out a loan, Sean Johnson, with $0 left to his name. Scott, 39. Don't know why you're quite on this list. 39, that could still probably get you a player or two here, so you're sitting pretty. Matt, Casey, Ryan, better start rationing out your paychecks. The week 4 luck rating, Casey, you lucky son of a bitch this week. You had a huge percent of luck in your matchup, going off against Ben, who was one of the fewest points scored this week. Once again, Andy is on top with our season luck rating. I don't know if his number keeps going up or what, but his bar, I swear, gets bigger and bigger while the rest of ours shrink closer and closer to that 0. On to the bets. The London, Pollard, Judy side of this trade definitely looks better. In me versus Sean, obviously, mine is still doing better. And now, over to the trade sections with Matty.
Well, obviously, we have a trade rapist in DynasTangy. He's sliding in your DMs, snatching your players up, trying to rape them, so y'all need to hide your studs, hide your bench, hide your studs, hide your bench, hide your studs, hide your bench, and hide your fab, cause he's raping everybody out here. You don't have to come and confess, nah, we looking for you, we gon' find you, we gon' find you, so you can run until that, run until that, run until that, homeboy, homeboy. We see the trade in chat and we don't forget, you are just so dumb. You are dumb, for real. You are really, really, really so dumb. I was attacked by some idiot in this league. So dumb, so dumb, so dumb, so sliding in your DMs, snatching your players up, trying to rape them, so y'all need to hide your studs, hide your bench, hide your studs, hide your bench, hide your studs, hide your bench, and hide your fab, cause he's raping everybody out here. You don't have to come and confess, we looking for you, we gon' find you, we gon' find you, so you can run until that, run until that, run until that, homeboy, homeboy. You got trade ripped, you got trade ripped. Pop, 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 grab your lube, get your dinner, because we're all getting raped here. It's the trade segment, the one we've been waiting to do for multiple weeks now. Holy fuck, boys. I don't know how many trades there are, but we will keep track with a little counter on the bottom. Trade number 1, this happened on the 30th. It was between Donnie, James, and me. None of us were drinking. I had a little bit, Donnie had a little bit. James was pretty damn sober, though he did have some whiskey. What a trade. I mean, the first 3-way trade in quite some time. It was quite epic. We had Donnie getting Darren Waller, Donnie getting AJ Brown, Donnie getting Kadarius Toney. I mean, I got Dalton Schultz, I got Devonta Smith. Me and James swapped defenses. James got his boy CeeDee Lamb. This was an epic trade. It was nutty, to say the least. And personally, I think I won that trade, but a lot of people are saying Donnie won because he did get the best asset in the trade, technically speaking, AJ Brown. Though I personally believe CeeDee Lamb will be solid this year and it'll just work itself out. You know, if you think about it, AJ Brown is known to have some knee injuries. CeeDee Lamb hasn't shown necessarily that he's going to be injury prone. So it's kind of a wait and see game. Also, I think there's a possibility that A.J. Brown gets a little bit of regression with the fact that Devonta Smith is so fucking good. Plus, he's on my team now. And everyone knows that Doney always loses. It's been like that throughout as long as we can remember. Rip Teo has been incredibly unlucky. Because of that, I think Devonta Smith ends up being a league winner for me. You heard it here first. Whoo! It was an epic trade, though. It was an absolutely epic trade. All right. Goddamn, boys. Trade 2 between Ben and Green Bay's sweetheart. Epic trade. Hollywood Brown, Breece Hall. Ben pulls in absolute studs for Dak Prescott and David Montgomery. Now, on the surface, this trade looks pretty rough for John Amoa. He maybe got an upgrade at quarterback, but it's kind of a wait and see game. I don't know if it's necessarily a huge enough upgrade to lose Hollywood Brown and Breece Hall. I think that Breece Hall for David Montgomery rest of the season, I think, is going to be sort of a wash. They're both going to be good. And I guess we have to wait and see with Hollywood Brown. Now, Kyler and Hollywood are buddies, and I do think Hollywood Brown will continue to be very good the rest of the season. If I were to put a grade on this trade for John, it's a C- with upside. But realistically, it's about a C- to a B-. I mean, if David Montgomery comes back, gets the workload, he's going to be fine. But right now, he's actually kind of fucked. He doesn't have a ton of running backs on his team. Ben, on the other hand, is getting kind of a stud in the making. Now, it's not guaranteed, but Breece Hall looks good. And look, the numbers, they don't tell the whole picture because Dak's been injured. But clearly, Ben got the better side of this trade. I think we all see it. John's been known to ride a pretty thin line between giving a fuck and just outright getting lucky. So I'm sure he'll be just fine. Speaking of John getting popped in the booty hole, another trade where he just trades away Derek Carr for Taysom Hill. Now, on paper, this looks fine. I mean, Taysom Hill is interesting, but he was a waiver wire pickup, and Derek Carr is basically about a top 12 QB so far over 4 weeks, which means if you started him, you would have been fine. I feel like I get it. You trade for Dak Prescott. You don't need 3 quarterbacks. This trade, this is water compared to the other trades. It means nothing to me. Clearly, Sean was able to leverage Derek Carr in later trades that we'll hear about. This trade was a B to me. This is a B for boring. Get it out of the fucking system. I don't want to see it on the trades. It's just disgusting. No one cares. It's a stupid trade, John. But love it. The next trade, 6 hours later, Derek Carr getting passed around like a 2-cent whore over to Eric Paquila's team. This trade, a 2-way, 2 for 2. We got DJ Moore, droppable, our wide receiver 1, absolute trash tier. Baker sucks balls. One of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen in my entire life. I hope he dies. It's just not good. Sean gets back Tom Brady, who was the quarterback like 2 last year or 3. He is an actual stud. Now, how Sean managed to work in a 6-hour trade, Taysom Hill basically, and DJ Moore, who is legit bench trash. You'd almost prefer he goes on IR so you don't start him on accident. Eric, I don't know what you're doing here, bud. This is a terrible trade. The fact that Sean comes at you right afterwards with the Derek Carr, hey, look at this. He's wide receiver, quarterback 12. Give me Tom Brady, who has 3 better weapons, is the 6-time Super Bowl champion, been in the Super Bowl 7 times, 8 times. The guy is a fucking stud. Age doesn't matter. He has incredible offense. I mean, there's nothing about Tom Brady for Derek Carr and DJ Moore that I hate more. And the fact that you threw JD McKissick in for Sean, which we will see later is added for more trade bait is exactly why Sean and Ben are the goats of trading. They just find a way to get a little bit extra value, and they trade the shit value for slightly better value, and then the slightly better value for slightly better value. And then the next thing you know, you have the third best quarterback in the league last year on a team who is trashed here without a quarterback, who is now good for Taysom Hill. Oh my God, it's so fucking bullshit. Sean decided he needed a 12 to 11 hour rest after pounding Eric's butthole, and said, hey, Max, here's another person in the league that I can find and make a trade with, who I can send a couple trash fucking players over for a good player. How about we trade George Kittle for Zay Jones and J.D. McKissick? Now you are seeing the loop. Taysom Hill and DJ Moore for Tom Brady, fucking George Kittle. It doesn't matter if Kittle sucks. All tight ends fucking suck. But George Kittle is actually a really good NFL player. And his value is worth more than anyone else's value. Like, he's a top 5 value. And he's been injured for a few weeks. He comes out, he has an okay game. He was 1 inch away from catching a touchdown and being good. I can't believe it. I literally can't believe it. Taysom fucking Hill and DJ fucking Moore, both who suck dong, for Tom Brady and George fucking Kittle. Guys, these are 2 players drafted in the top 10 of this draft who are going to be fine rest of season. And all of the players in this trade are going to be dropped, except for maybe Derek Carr. That's it. Unbelievable how this league works. Wow. Okay, we have had 5 trades so far. Let's get to a half of a dozen. We have 6. Again, this trade, I actually have no problem with. I actually have 0 problem with this trade at all. I actually like Max's side better in this trade. Thielen is solid. I think if you had to start one of them, it'd be between Thielen and Ayuk rest of the season. But here's what I will say. I'm not a fantasy football wizard. I don't know their stats. But I do know that Nico Collins is fine. And Brandon Ayuk is fine. And Adam Thielen is fine. This trade is an A for awesome friends doing nice things for each other. Max got some depth. Ben got a better starting wide receiver. I see no issues with this trade. And I actually see this trade potentially working out better for Max because Ayuk looks more involved this year than in years past. And I do like the idea that Ayuk will be there for bye weeks and things of that nature versus Adam Thielen, who he's had to start and had some good games and some bad games with. I see nothing wrong with this. Boys, this is the kind of shit I'm talking about. I'm going to end the trade segment like this. Sean and Ben find a way to take a fucking paperclip and turn it into a Maserati. I don't know how they do it, but they're literally just driving their fucking Lamborghinis around, laughing to the bank while the fucking team clowns, Max, John, Eric, all gave away good players and got nothing good in return. I don't know how it happened, but they just somehow funneled more good players to their own teams. It makes no sense to me at all. But I just can't believe that I'm over here trying to get Justin Jefferson and I got to fucking give up 2 top 20 wide receivers, one of which is in the top 12 in 3 games and has no health issues. And then originally wanted Tyreek and Mike Evans. Scott, it's a terrible fucking trade. I'm getting ass rammed here. Tried to trade James for Pat Freiermuth. Wasn't in on that. Fucking tight end trades that mean nothing. Who cares? Oh, man. This league sometimes, boys.
What will the final scores be? Into the future he tries to see, but who will know if he's wrong or right? Predictions with Mattyice TM.
Predictions with Mattyice, last segment for today. We will hold off on the power rankings. We will save it for next week because we've already had enough epic shit to talk about. And let's be honest, the power rankings don't matter. I need my gun. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. I am actually 46% last week. Huge comeback. 4 out of 6 correct. Okay. I've done no research. I make these picks on the spot. James is like, hey, did you submit your picks for today? I'm like, I don't know my picks. Let's start. First matchup. We have James on the left versus Saltbox31 on the right. Looking at this matchup, James's team has been performing pretty solid. Now, granted, on the back of some huge weeks from defense and kicker versus Scott's team, who last week sort of underperformed, but still, I believe, got the dub, correct? Scott won. It's fantasy football. Things are going to change. I personally think Lamar Jackson has a huge game. I also think Josh Allen will. Lenny, this is the last week probably we're going to see Antonio Gibson be a stud. I like a bounce back from Drake London, who last week didn't have a good game. This week is going to kind of start to decide the landscape of the top. I think Scott's been riding a 3-1. He's due for a loss. I'm going to give the win to James's team. And if J.K. Dobbins can have a big game, and if Jonathan Taylor plays, which I don't know if he will, he's not going to play, James?
I'm just benching him. He's benched.
Update. Jonathan Taylor is out. I'm giving the dub to Icebox. Sorry, James.
Loading matchup 2.
It's mano-y-mano, Andy versus Matt. Look, here's the deal. Andy's team just had a historic game, put up like over 150 points. Jared Goff was the top scoring quarterback. It was a weird fucking week. Andy's team is pretty good. It's definitely in the average category now because Kelsey, Olave, Sutton, Eckler's starting to shine. Zeke is good. This is going to be a very, very close matchup. Mark my words. This is going to come down to the wire. I think Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith connection goes big for me. And I do like Najee to score a touchdown this week, giving me possibly more than 0 points at my tight end and more than 20 points at my running back position. I like my chances to score over $130 this week. And for that reason, as always, I will vote for my team. This is why my prediction score is 40-something%. So fuck you, Andy.
Loading matchup 3.
Boys, we got the 2 players in the league that barely talk. It's Max versus Eric. And let me just say, Eric, I respect the shit out of you for banning Ben from trading. I think that was a good move, bold, very awesome of you. Look, every week I've bet on you, I was wrong. Every week I didn't bet on you, I was wrong. I am 0 for 4 on betting your games. So, I am going to pick a number behind my back. If James gets it right, I pick you. If he gets it wrong, I don't pick you. I think without Javonte, you still have a good chance of winning. James, 1 or 2. 1 second.
1 or 2?
You got to pick a number. If you're right, I'm picking Eric.
Okay. Between 1 and 2.
Yep, just pick one.
2.
1. I'm sorry, Eric. You're out. Don't fuck me this time. Don't fuck me this time. Lose.
Loading matchup 4.
All right, we got lifelong Bengals fan versus Beach. And let me just say, this matchup is going to be toy like a toiger for sure. Ben still has some depth problems, roster issues, injury problems. Sean, on the other hand, decent week last week, 115. Your team can play. I've seen it. You've been putting in the work. You've been coaching up your boys. You got a nice upgrade at tight end. You got a nice upgrade at quarterback. I think you win this week. For those reasons, Ben, I'm sorry, you lose. But you'll be back soon once you get some more depth.
Loading, matchup 5.
Here we go. We got the two real tree boys. We got John Moa. We got Casey Helmrath. And let me just say, boy, gotta gersh your bird derbs. These are both decent teams. Look, they're 3-1, right? John's 2-2. Casey's 3-1. I'm betting on all the 3-1 teams to lose. Though, John, you lost your running back. You need to make a trade. You're probably starting, at this point, trash. Look, I'm going to make it easy for you. Casey's getting a bye week this week. Scott has like a bunch of injuries. He barely has any starting running backs. This is actually brutal. He's going to need Nick Chubb and T. Higgins to just fucking hop on the boosters and fucking fly to the moon. I don't think it's going to happen this week for those reasons. John, I'm sorry. I'll see you at D&D tomorrow. Don't care.
Doesn't care? Oh, man.
I don't care that you have Cup. It just, you don't have any other good players to start at running back.
Loading, matchup 6.
50-50 matchup, Donnie versus Eric. Look, racism has been running rampant in this league. He's been winning games. He's now 2 for 2. Basically, he's gone on a 2-game winning streak since admitting he is a racist. His salsa is very good. Donnie, on the other hand, has had a pretty rough stretch. His team kind of does suck overall. But I have to feel like at some point his team is actually going to start to show up. He has Dalvin Cook. James Robinson's pretty good. He's got A.J. Brown. Like, his team's not bad. Darren Waller, like, his team's not bad, but I don't know. It just feels like another week that racism gets the win. And look, Teo, let's be honest, probably was a little racist. Gonna go easy on you for those reasons. Donnie, you lose. I'm sorry. Keep on. Those were your predictions. I'm 45%, which means that I'm probably right about half of them and the other half is wrong. What do you want me to do, Amelia? 45% is all I got, all right? Sorry. Look, boys, this week was absolutely epic. And I'm talking gunslinging epic as shit. Donnie got to hold the gun on Saturday, I believe, maybe Friday. Was it Saturday? When's the 30th?
It was a Friday.
It was Friday. Donnie got to hold the gun on Friday. He felt the power. He wants to guest host. Maybe someday he will be the host of this show. Until then, I'm your host. Let's have a fucking week, boys. Let's have a fucking week. I'm out. Let's get it.